Hello everyone. So this is gonna be my first video. I've wanted to do like a blog or like a video log for video blog for a long time here. Just so I can kind of talk about my opinions on different things. So yeah, this is the first one, and these are kind of gonna be kind of just stream of consciousness type things. Uh, like whenever I have something that I kind of want to complain about or rant about. So anyway, so today I really wanted to talk about entitlement. We live in a generation right now that is just entitlement is a huge issue. People have been really sold this idea that the world owes you something. That because you're alive, that because of this, because you had a tough childhood, because of many different reasons that people have, and sometimes people have legitimate reasons to feel like they were dealt a bad hand, or people have really sad stories a lot of times, and the world is it's a messed up place, and so we've all kind of been touched, unless you live in some kind of ivory tower, where you're away from the world and you have $1 million or however much money you have. Oftentimes every single person in the world has kind of been touched by tragedy or by a poor childhood, and but the left has really taken this and ran with it and basically sold people the idea that we are entitled to things, that we are that because maybe you had a bad childhood, that if you do something wrong, that you're entitled not to feel responsible for that, because oh, you had a bad childhood and so you couldn't really help it. And I've fallen prey to this myself. It's really attractive to look to want to paint yourself as a victim and then be able to take that victimhood status and turn it into some kind of entitlement. One of the things that I was really thinking about this morning was the fat acceptance movement. The fat acceptance movement, in my opinion, is based totally on just entitlement. They feel they're entitled for basically the world to completely change and accommodate them because they're in a larger body and because it's a disease. And many of them, they don't want to even act like it's a disease anymore. They want to act like they are perfectly normal, like there's nothing wrong with them. And if you dare contradict that and make them feel like they have some kind of responsibility and agency, ooh, they don't like that. That's what the whole movement's based on, and that's what almost all of these, insane movements that we're seeing in this day and age. Talking about Black Lives Matter, talking about fat acceptance, talking about the LGBT movement. Now, I am LGBT, but the LGBT community, they want to act like they are entitled to people's approval of them. They aren't just happy with you kind of minding your own business and and you leaving them alone. No, you must approve of them. And if you don't approve of them, then they're going to, and if they find out, then they're going to do something to try to punish you. We've seen with this cake, with the guy that two gay men came in, wanted him to bake a cake for them. He was a Christian, didn't want to do it, but he offered them, the only thing he didn't want to do for them is bake a cake with two men on it, and he didn't want to be a part of their gay wedding. That's it. He offered to refer them to different bakers that might be willing to help them, but it just wasn't good enough, because once you tell these people that you don't, that you basically don't approve of their behavior, even if you're doing nothing to try to stop them from doing that behavior, they want to be entitled to whatever you have. They want to ruin your business because you didn't completely approve of their lifestyle, and it's just getting outrageous. Back to the fat acceptance movement. In my opinion, a big part of it is they just feel like they're entitled to some supermodel boyfriend. And it's funny because you don't often see very many men in the fat acceptance movement. it's mostly women. And, you know, they've been sold this lie that, oh, well, if you're fat, you know, it's not your fault. And they'll try to tell you, oh, I don't eat any more than anybody else. I eat totally normal. You know, I get tons of exercise. And it's just ridiculous. You know, we know they're all lying, and they all are trying to, you know, it's funny because liberals love to take the, well, maybe not liberals, but the, you know, liberals that we have nowadays. They like to take the very rare exception and use that to basically invalidate any argument you might have. Same with abortion. You know, if you argue against abortion, a lot of times the very first thing they will try to come at you against is, well, what about women that have been raped and they're pregnant? But do you know how small of a percentage that is of abortions that are done? Same with women that are going to die from a pregnancy. It is such a tiny minority of women that are getting abortions because of that. The rest, I mean, can we be real? The rest are inconvenience abortions. They're just, you know, I was irresponsible. I didn't use, you know, my boyfriend didn't use protection. I wasn't on birth control. And I got pregnant, and now I want to get rid of the baby because it will affect my career, or it will. I mean, sometimes they go for even more petty reasons. You know, oh, it's going to ruin my body. It's going to make me look, you know, unattractive, and so I need to get rid of this before it has any effect on my body. It's an extremely selfish mentality, and we're living in a culture nowadays that is really just, you know, it's completely self-centered. It's all about me. Anything that inconveniences me, anything that makes me feel like I should take responsibility for my own actions, I don't like. And so if you tell me that that I can lose weight, and what's crazy is that, you know, they don't want solutions to their issues. They want the whole world to change around to make them comfortable. You know, they don't want to lose weight, especially if it involves discipline and not eating so much and having to have some self-control. Yeah, and that's another thing. That's probably another video I'll make. This culture has, you know, self-control is so far gone nowadays. Nobody has any self-control. I mean, and of course, that's a generalized statement. But, you know, people love victimhood. You know, you see these, I mean, you see it on Dr. Phil all the time, these people that claim they have some kind of disease or illness. And it goes back to this entitlement victimhood status because, you know, people see that when you become a victim, you know, or victim, that all of a sudden the gates of the world open up for you. You know, the media is going to be on your side. People are going to possibly send you money. And oftentimes the real victims in this world don't get that kind of help. It's the false victims, you know, of their own personal mistakes and their own personal issues. And we're all supposed to bow down before that and totally, you know, give them a pass for their own personal decisions. And, you know, we can't legislate away stupidity. We can't force people to, you know, we can't force people to be better people, unfortunately. And you know, I would never want to force people to be better people. I think that the great thing about this country is that you do have the freedom to be stupid. And that's the crazy thing that they're pushing for, is they want the government to basically hold their hand and make sure that they never are in any kind of danger, make sure that they never have to, you know, take any personal responsibility for their safety or their well-being. You know, you see it with the feminists. They feel entitled to just be able to walk down the street, never have to deal with any kind of danger, and you know, they act like men just somehow can walk down the street and never deal with any kind of danger. But, you know, men are the majority of public sphere violence. But, you know, we have such a, and this is the crazy thing, because feminists claim that, like, this culture just hates women. But no, we bend over backwards to try to make sure women are okay. You know, if you looked at Boko Haram and Burkina Faso, that had been happening. I'm talking about where the girls had been kidnapped from the school. That had been happening to many boys, um, and nobody cared. Nobody did anything until it happened to a bunch of women. And so when feminists claim that this culture is totally against women, that we just don't want women to be equal, I mean, it's just a load of bullshit, you know? It's like we bend over backwards to make sure women are taken care of. If you're a woman and you go to a tech company, especially if you're like a woman of color or a LGBT woman, you will get hired so much quicker than like a white male. We, it's just ridiculous, and people are so entitled nowadays. I've seen articles from fat acceptance people or fat acceptance women that they don't feel they should have to date within their basically within their league. And that's what I think fat acceptance is really all about. Is it's I'm entitled to to basically the perfect man, the fantasy man, with six-pack abs and a good job and everything like that, but I don't have to change anything about myself. And they try to say, oh well, these beauty standards, they're just they're a social construct, when it's just total BS. It's not a social construct. Men are designed to like certain things in women, just as women are designed to like certain things in men. Is it a coincidence that these large women want a really attractive man that's strong? You don't see these fat women ever clamoring. They could get a boyfriend if they wanted to, but they don't want the boyfriend, the guys that are pursuing them. They want some supermodel that's going to validate them inside. And that's basically what it comes down to. So I'm out of time. I hope you enjoyed this, and maybe in the future I'll make more videos. Let me know what you think, and have a great day. Bye.